I could have made this video 4 years ago, but I didn't have a place to work. Now I'm still staying at the place of the French communist, so I'll try to remember what horrific things came to my ears 4 years ago. I met an old French gardener in the Templars area with many commanderies and even Templars castles in the southeast of France, who let me stay over for a couple of nights. And when he heard me talk about the Templar Masons, Switzerland and the enemy within, he said, "Listen, I tell you something, but I don't want to get any problems." The gardener had been a shepherd before that for 20 years and never had any children, as he was up in the French mountains all the time. So only later in life he became a gardener doing the gardens of rich people, the elite, and maintaining the green around castles. And he had been doing the garden of a doctor for many years, who had got rich for treating the elite. And as the elite always needs something new to look better than the rest of humanity, as in Pharaoh's days with Cleopatra writing the first beauty book in history, this doctor got hold of an entirely new procedure, making you look and feel 30 years younger and holding 3 or 4 months after each treatment. Only problem, it needs living human material for the treatment, a new procedure discovered by science. Before I go on, I have to ask you, have you ever thought about how it is possible that Trompstein, with his 73 years, looks so energetic and smiling, acting and appearing as if he were 30 years younger? Remember what I told you about 30 years younger just before? How come this granddad participates in wrestling matches at his very advanced age? Or has a first lady or first laddie you just don't know anymore today, that could easily be his granddaughter, saying "Good night, granddaddy" before going to bed, but instead of that, grandpa just jumps the girl. How is this possible, folks, with 73 years? Or like Silvio Berlusconi, Italy's former prime minister, now 83, who started this grandpa humping granddaughter model sort of stuff. Exactly around the same time, the new health procedure was invented in 1998 by the American James Thompson. And exactly around the same time this product got invented, Hillary Clinton started to transform from an elderly looking first lady or first laddie 20 years ago into a lightning rock star. From the moment on, they had the new vampire procedure ready in 1998. And our masters of Pharaoh's aristocracy have always been doing this. There was the blood countess Elsbeth de Bathory bathing in the blood of virgins to make her skin look young forever. There was Marquis Giureh and Joan of Arc's first general torturing to death and sodomizing all these young boys. And there was Count Vlad Dracul, son of Dracul, son of the dragon, who drank human blood, and who's an ancestor of Prince Charles of England. And look at what his brother, Prince Philip, is doing today. You can see him here with Jeffrey Epstein, the guy of the island, eh? And of course, Prince Philip is also he's related to Vlad Dracul. And another picture here of Prince Philip together, the descendant of Vlad Dracul, together here with the guy of the island, eh? And there's Donald Trump, who can be seen with all these shady perverts. There is no president in the world who's not a Freemason, and who's not from this pharaonic aristocratic bloodline. Impossible. So the gardener continued, saying that the doctor injected his elite patients with a thing called embryonic cells, first time isolated in 1998. Because through analyzing earthly life, these creatures found out that the biggest growth potential in the entire human existence is at 3 months in the womb, when the growth factor of a growing fetus is showing astonishing growth rates, and high growth rates inhibit the potential to heal or to rejuvenate, as the healing process is nothing more than the regrowth of cells and tissues. So at first the scientists used those embryonic cells extracted from a fetus from where, for instance, the liver is, in order to re-inject it into the sick liver attacked by cancer of a cancer patient. But very soon they found out that the best embryonic cells for a human are those extracted from a human. And that having a 3-monthly rejuvenating cure for an overall health and fitness stimulating effect, and literally feeling reborn, with phenomenal sexual appetite and a staggering sexual performance for any rich 70 or 80-year-old feeling like a young god again, needing some 18-year-old models or even younger than that to ease the horniness. Well, does that sound familiar to y'all? Which one of the two here is the pervert? And which one eliminates satanic baby cell vampires? Take your pick. I remember the exact words of the gardener when the doctor told him that after an injection it was like sitting in a comfortable armchair. The gardener told me he was just playing the dumb French gardener for his own behalf, and that he was flabbergasted that the doctor openly spoke about these crimes. But the gardener had noticed that every time when the doctor had taken his rejuvenating vampire shot, he was like euphoric and almost intoxicated through the elixir of youth, and therefore making the mistake of loose lips and his arrogance sort of drunk on puberty, never thinking that far. One day some South African would pass and have a chat with the gardener, and then make a video about it 4 years later. The doctor, in his ecstasy, told the baffled gardener that at first the elites all went to a clinic in Geneva, Switzerland, called La Prieuré, meaning the priory, as in the priory of Sion of the Knights Templars, not very far away from Geneva, and feel as strong, as invincible as a Templar, so to speak. And their protocols of the elders of Sion, with an S, as in the priory of Sion, with an S from the Swiss Templars town of Sion. Automatically, the elders of a Templars order became Freemasons when they got older. And in French it's called Le Protocole des Sages de Sion, with an S. As Templars spoke French and originated out of the Cistercian orders of Bernard de Clairvaux in Troyes in France, so French being far more precise than English. As in the French word Ante-Christ, with an E and not with an I, for he will come before and is not against Christ at all. The same guy whom the jaywalkers call Moshiach ben Yosef. The doctor went on saying that at a certain moment the demand for the rejuvenating power shots became so great at the end of the 20th century, after it was isolated in 1998 by James Thompson, that the Geneva Gene of Eve, maybe, clinic La Prieuré couldn't cope with it anymore, especially concerning the fresh supplies. So they had to change the law in Swaziland by mobilizing the pink list killers to go into the streets and demonstrate and make a lot of noise, pretending they represent the entire population in an effort to manipulate the public opinion. With the help of the media liars, of course, who just support everything that's rotten or a fraud. But of course, the real reasons were kept in the dark, that the world's elite needed more babies and exactly 3-month-old fetuses in a Geneva-based clinic with the Templars' name in Octagon, the base of the Templars. So in 2001, in an entirely manipulated Swiss referendum, the Article 119-120, which you can see here, of the Swiss law got decided and made official in 2002, that any female can just decide on her own, without any man being asked, to go and kill and abort a new life until a growth of 12 weeks, which is exactly the 3 months needed for the power shot, using 3 months old or young embryonic cells. So here it says, it's in German, I'm sorry, of course it's not in English because it's about Swaziland. It says 14 Wochen is weeks. The pink list killers and all that, they wanted 14 weeks. But the 7 heads of state, they put it on 12 Wochen, that means 12. In 2002, and all started, 1999, just after the embryonic cells, they were isolated. So the political parties and the pink list killers of Helvetica and the various goddesses demanded 14 weeks. But the beast with the 7 heads of state in parliament, who eventually decide the outcome and acceptance of a new law in Swaziland, so there is no real democracy, they decided to bring that down from 14 to 12 weeks to slaughter the baby, fetus, product or whatever, because the pharaonic aristocratic elite didn't want any human cow coming to the clinic with a bad product inside of a 3.5-month-old fetus or 3.5-month young fetus. As only 3 months or 12 weeks giving the good product and highest cellular growth rate in a human lifespan. Only thus giving the perfect rejuvenating product for millionaires, pop stars, Hollywood stars and politicians of the pharaonic bloodline and their farmed human livestock in every sense you can think of. I know what you're doing, Tromstein. I'm gonna haul your fat ass on the internet platform, the social platform, for all to see. So this is an official thing here by the Swiss authorities or the Swiss 7 heads of state, the beast, which you can see here, and they say, we have the final say. What I just told you, who's we? Well, they are the 7 heads of state. They have the final say, not the people. There is no democracy, forget it. So here it says, in Switzerland, sovereignty resides with the people, who exercise supreme political power. So sovereignty, they rule with the people. So there are 2 things. There's something else than just the people. It's the sovereignty, the beast in the Alps. And it says, who exercise supreme political power. That's why they say, we have the final say. It's all a hoax, people, the referendum, the Swiss referendum. It was the same with the Brexit. It took bloody 10 years, didn't it? And there are many laws in Swaziland, especially the latter days, that has been rejected by the beast with the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The 10 ministries they divide among each other. That's the hyena, it's the Roman Empire. So, I continue my story. The doctor continued, since a Swiss referendum takes a hell of a long time to take place, it took years to have the new Swiss Templar baby kill sock fetus blood law to be effectuated. Other pharmaceutical companies like the Belgian Solvay company and children started to disappear in and around Belgium. It needed young flesh and baby machines to get the 3 months fetus elixir. So the Freemasons Dutroux and Fourniret brought the human cow baby machines to the Mother of Darkness castle and the castle of Sotu, Satan, where I personally went to in this film here, and explaining the Solvay pharmaceutical deep occult ties to Octagon, Swaziland, where the clinic of the Priory of Sion extracts the fetus elixir as being in the medieval Dark Ages, processing alchemy and Baphomet elixir in their Octagon, Le Refuge Solvay, or Le Solvay Refuge. Here you can see the title, just punch it in and have a look. A few days ago, on March 7th, 2020, Fourniret, the guy with the castle, torturing, raping and slowly killing children with his Freemason pals, admitted he kidnapped the young 9-year-old Estelle Mouzin in 2003. Right next to Walt Disney's Children's Park in Paris. I think she still might be alive, producing for youth elixir for the aristocratic vampires held in the dungeons of some castle, together with other kidnapped girlies, being gotten pregnant, aborted and harvested 4 times a year for the last 17 years. Probably looking like a 66-year-old cow now, instead of her 26 years now. Hey Donald, and your pal Jeffrey Epstein and his island? So, with Dutroux and Fourniret in prison and 27 witnesses either suicided or accidented, even a judge and a policeman, it needed something nearer to home and away from Europe, with too much attention on disappearing children. Well, best would be an island somewhere off the coast of Florida, and next to the highly corrupt South America, where everything is possible, if you have enough money. Here you can see all the missing women. Well, this is just a little part of them, eh? Ah, the Virgin Islands, and what a beautiful name, as if it were made for the purpose. Well, I wanted to make a video about the Jeffrey Epstein affair actually, about which I have a lot of intel, but I didn't have any place to work. Well, maybe later, sometime, eh? Because this film is about the embryonic cells. So here it says, the Virgin Islands, these are the Virgin Islands and there are more down here. And this is the little Saint James Island here. I don't know why it says Thomas. Little Saint James. And here it is. This is Cuba. Right here's Mexico, eh? All the women disappearing, eh? Look at that, eh? Yeah, and this is Jeffrey Epstein's island here. It says here, Jeffrey Epstein, eh? And mind you, the thousands of women of Ciudad Juarez started to disappear around the same time. The youth elixir got invented using human embryonic cells, which got isolated in 1998 here by James Thompson. There you go. And these guys had airplanes, calling it the Lolita Express, even sharing them with the Swiss Templar CIA. Think of the Priory Clinic in Geneva and Swiss crypto leagues. And no doubt they had seaplanes to exfiltrate from here, from Mexico to the Virgin Islands. and even bring the harvested corpses back, saying some crazy Mexican gang butchered them for fun, with the help of the media liars. Well, let me tell you, Mexicans love and protect their women, and would never do these satanic Templar, CIA, Epstein things. It says 1998, eh? So Jeffrey Epstein bought his island in 1998, the same year the embryonic cells were isolated by James Thompson. And only 2 years after the Dutroux Mother of Darkness child murders flew up, needing to leave Europe, here you can see that, 1996, that was only 2 years before Epstein bought his island, so they needed to get away. Look, here it says Marc Dutroux in Wikipedia, and here Bernard Weinstein. Look, it's another Steinsees, like Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein. They are the stone builders, the old pharaohs, or the Erev-Rav. So here you can see the Virgin Islands. And here's the island of Little St. James here, in between here. This is all Templars territory, folks. So again, it's very important to understand history, as always. If you want to understand the Jeffrey Epstein affair and the Knights Templar island he was on, the US Virgin Islands is Templar territory owned by the Knights Hospitallers, the successors and financial branch of the Templars, who therefore have the same white cross on a red underground as the Swiss flag, with islands in the Virgin Islands group, and the original names of Saint-Martin, here you can see it, Saint-Martin, they're all American names now, eh? They're all changed. Saint-Barthélemy, yeah. Think of the Huguenots' Night of Saint Bartholomew. Saint Christophe, the Saint Protector of the Knights Templars, Saint Christophe. Like Sainte Croix, and related to my house of Saint Croix Rose du Plessis, yeah, Sainte Croix, which is right next to Jeffrey Epstein. And this too, it's all Templar stuff, eh? And Little St. James, the island of Jeffrey Epstein, where they harvested the youth elixir, about which, in fact, the gardener spoke about, long before the Epstein affair, that there was an island. So you can read about it here in the Hospitaller Colonization of the Americas in Wikipedia. It's much longer, of course. So, it's Satanism. It goes all way back. It's all related to Swaziland and the clinic of La Prieuré. And the doctor told me, or the gardener told me about it. It's all related to the Knights Templars. The French king, he was right. They were Satanists. They ruled the world. They're everywhere on all key positions. And why Little St. James, or also called the Lesser St. James? Is there a big one too? Yes, there is. One of the disciples of Jesus, who became an apostle in Iberia or Spain after he made his way through the Roman lines in Palestine. Therefore, the today very popular Templar hiking trail from Northern Europe to Santiago de Compostela was made around the grave of the apostle, the great Saint James, whose ghost 800 years later appeared all the time before a big battle during the Reconquista, kicking the Muslim invaders out of Spain. And people had visions seeing him, therefore calling the ghost Little Saint James, or also called the Lesser James. Also because this was 800 years later and the apostle could possibly still be alive, and who was in fact officially executed by Emperor Herod Agrippa. But well, this is the Middle Ages, and everything can happen. It's all superstition. And probably the Knights Templars, the guy was dressed in a suit of a Knights Templar, you know, to have the people go and fight for them, eh? Like the media whores do all these things today, right? So this hikers trail called the Way of St. James, I also call it simply The Way. And I filmed it for you last year here on this channel and my other channel, when I saw thousands of people marching with backpacks and all that, when I was visiting the Templars castles in Spain, crossing the Camino de Santiago, the way. So here you can read some more about it. They have a festival that honors St. James on July the 25th. That's my birthday. Hey. And yeah, so you see here that the Crusaders were not the ones who drew blood first, but the Muslims invaded Europe hundreds of years before, and so you could ask yourself, like, well, they started it, eh? They started it. But if you look at all the things going on with Jeffrey Epstein, all related to the Knights Templars, you also have to ask yourself, did the good ones win? So little Saint James and resurrection, if you wish, of the apostle was referred to as the Saint Templar Knight, as the name of Jeffrey Epstein's island related, and even being a real Templar's island. And as the Freemasons come out of the Knights Templars, and all politicians have to be Freemasons by the law of the New World Order, horizontal rule, it is no surprise at all to see Freemason Trump together with Jeffrey the Harvester going to their Templars Island. And again, it goes deeper again, as the name Virgin Islands suggests to the goddess of the womb, the goddess of the unborn babies, Hathor, and who will never get born in this embryonic case. Hathor, the mistress of the skies, embryonic cells, baby sacrifice, youth elixir, mother of darkness castle, Jeffrey Epstein and his little St. James Muslim Slayer Templar Island, the Clinique La Prieuré in Geneva, Switzerland, Bill and Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, CIA, and Switzerland and their 12-week, 3-month sacrificial laws. Go to hell, Swizzy. So I guess the Muslims are not as stupid as the white man, being dominated by women and pink list killers all over the line. The Muslims want to keep control over the womb, for the womb belongs to the mother, but also to the father, who has an equal right to decide over the unborn and his children, who come out of a woman and a man, not in the utterly sick white man's world. I'd say the same, or wrap them up, them women. It's the only way to protect the womb from the followers of Hathor. I'm not a Muslim, and I don't want to be one either. But you have to admit, these people have a far more just and honest approach on sharing the womb 50-50, and not 100 woman to 0 man, as in the fucked up West. Coming back from Hathor and the womb to the embryonic cells and related to those tens of thousands of children and women disappeared in Syria because of the war, and maybe even more, falsely blaming it on the macho Muslim character and its patriarchy by the lying media whores and their pink list killers, whereas in fact it was all about organ harvesting and the embryonic youth elixir, providing for the worldwide PARTE A pharaonic aristocracy. And their Middle Eastern cousins, the emirs, the caliphs, the sultans, the sheikh and kings. We all have the same problem, folks, no matter your nationality. And he's doing it again, he's doing it everywhere. And this in fact is doing the oval or the womb. The oval is the womb. It's not only the vesica pisces, it is the womb. It's doing the Hathor. Let's call it like that, doing the Hathor. It's the hand sign of Hathor, the womb. So naturally, you know, we see this guy together with Jeffrey Epstein and the rest of them, eh? So here we can see Hillary Clinton also doing the Hathor womb, probably being completely high at the youth elixir, the 3 months old embryonic cells. Here, the Hathor. So let's team up all together. There's no other way to get rid of these highly globally organized vampires, unless you want your children to become their human livestock for the next harvesting for their alchemy youth elixir. Hello, good people. Time has come for us to depart soon. And I have to tell you, you're gonna die soon, together with your loved ones. And the only thing that matters now is how you're gonna die. On your knees or standing up. Do you want to slowly suffocate in your own blood by the corona? Or do you want to fight the corona? And as you're all a bunch of cowards, I know how you're gonna die. You're gonna slowly and pitifully suffocate in your own blood, with no God or any other invisible hocus pocus coming to your rescue. Because in fact you're not that important as you think you are. In fact you are nothing, and just a slave of Pharaoh who don't need you anymore. And in fact cowardice is the very same thing as selfishness, or at least closely related. Because of your pure selfishness, you're not able to sacrifice yourself for others, and not even for your beloved ones. Only the moment you win over your selfish, egoistic attitude, making you ready for the ultimate sacrifice for your beloved ones, you'll be without fear, like a wolf defending its cubs to the bitter end. And that has come now. That is, if we believe what the newspapers are telling us. Okay, let's start again, eh? Did I scare you? Okay, well, that's exactly what the prostitutes, pharaohs, media, whores want to do through fear control. Be afraid of the Muslims through false flag terrorist attacks. Be afraid of another people. Be afraid of the Germans. Be afraid of the Russians, the communists. It's all witch hunting. Now be afraid of the Chinese coming up and their corona thing. Don't forget how the media lied and still lie about 9/11. That's all I need you to do in this situation. They lied about 9/11 and they'll continue to lie about everything, including the corona. It's the countermeasures you're gonna have to be afraid of, like mandatory vaccinations to make you stupid and infertile. Like camps being created for the so-called infected, or police thugs roaming the streets in white biological warfare suits. The official name for the corona or aristocracy's crown virus is SARS, CoV-2. And as I've explained to you, SAR is next to corona from the Latin word coronam for Pharaoh's crown. Sar means the king or pharaoh, as in a sarcophagus, a box to put the king in when he is dead. See my film The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil. And I suppose you've all seen the Templar symbol of the biological research lab in Wuhan, where the corona outbreak took place. It is. It's like a Templar's cross. I've shown you in my videos that the Templar's cross is in fact the two-dimensional pyramid by their ancestors, the pharaohs of Egypt. So here you can see the film. Here's the title. You just punch it in and you can see it. And the color of this Chinese biological research company is almost blue. So together with the word corona for crown, it refers to the blue war crown or pharaoh in a war against us, humanity. And as you might all know by now, the bluish Templar logo is identical to the logo of the Umbrella Corporation in red and white of the film Resident Evil by Pharaoh's Hollywood propaganda machine, where human beings are being transformed into zombies, mutated creatures by some sort of a virus. And as in the title Resident Evil, the residents of this planet, Earth, being regarded as evil, needing to be exterminated. But it goes deeper yet, and I will show you another new pharaonic connection next to the other three we already have, like the crown corona, the Tsar King Pharaoh, and the Templar's cross pyramid. The color of the lab's Templar's cross is a weird one, so light blue greenish, and in fact green is the color of the Vejat, the eye of Horus, or all-seeing eye. And this one here is an original one, and everybody knows, all historians and archaeologists and Egyptologists, Freemasons, they know that this color is a reference to the all-seeing eye. Remember, I told you about the Horus matrix in respect to the eye of Horus, Vejat, which you can see here, which is in fact the big dying. And for some of you, green might also be the color of the reptilians. So this is one of my older videos. You just punch it in, it's still there. I found another 2 videos on the Horus matrix. I had some big ones who are gone. And this is at Omaha Beach. There he is, the Vejat. The same thing, the big dying, just like the corona. So you see the name of the thing here, Vejat, and this color is called turquoise. It's exactly the same one as in the of the virus, right? So the Vejat in turquoise green, as on the Wuhan lab stands, it stands for total control and is the all-seeing eye, as on the dollar. And circles closed, because the Knights Templars control the world out of their total control Alpine dictatorship. And they all come from ancient Egypt. Remember the Templars, the Templars cross in the on the lab symbol? It would be nice if someone could make a comparison, you know, like 2 pics next to each other of the Vejat in turquoise green next to the Wuhan lab Resident Evil logo, because it's exactly the same color. They are the same people. Colors are very important for Pharaoh. You know, it's all about hiding colors, symbols. These are the things with which you can hide. Right? The Vejat, the all-seeing eye, and the big dying. To be more precise, the green color is in fact turquoise, which you can see here, which also represents Hathor, the goddess and daughter of Amun-Ra himself, also called the Lady of Mefkat and Mistress of the Skies, who controls the destiny of newborn babies, which will eventually happen if we take the antidote, which the Swiss Novartis most likely already have. Swiss Novartis is the biggest pharmaceutical company in the world in Basel, which is called BAL in French, and where Permindex and the Bank of International Settlements are. Together with their unlimited tool voted for in 2013 by the Swiss referendum of mandatory vaccinations, of which I already knew 7 years ago, and saying it in this film here, that the ruthless, corrupt Swiss would bring a virus into the world and already having the antidote themselves beforehand. Because I know how Swissy's highly criminal mind works, and proving it too through all the historical facts. Here, look, here it says Tsar. Look at this word. Of course it's from Tsar, meaning the king. Everything of the authorities has to match some pharaonic, occult, nobility, aristocratic thing, really. And therefore the Swiss Nazi Templars have the Tsar, as the Russian pharaonic Tsars from Tsar, demotic for Pharaoh, standing for Tsar, Zentralausländer-Register, to control and survey all foreigners with huge extended files in Swaziland. Well, they have a real big file on me there probably, eh? And the ISIS files for informatisiertes Staatsschutzinformationssystem. Here you can read it, informatisiertes Staatsschutzinformationssystem, called ISIS, right? To control all citizens in Swaziland, where the word Staatsschutz means to protect the state. Pharaoh's Templar state, that is. So it says nowhere that ISIS protects its citizens. Therefore, they didn't bother to arrest the Swiss Abu Musab al-Swisri, who didn't pose a threat to the Swiss state, but only a severe threat to some 100 murdered civilians in Paris through the horrendous terrorist attacks from 2015 and made in Swaziland. Yes, Abu Musab al-Swisri from the other ISIS worked in fact for the Swiss ISIS Total Control Templar System. Das informatisiertes Informationssystem, ja, ISIS. And so nobody in and around Swaziland arouses any suspicion. Swissy's Secret Service here also made some Leni Riefenstahl Nazi propaganda about how clean, neutral and innocent Swaziland allegedly is. And you better believe it, or else. So here you can see the Swiss CIA. It's in a place called Wankdorf, believe it or not. I filmed it once on my channel Giureh, but it's gone, of course, it's all gone, eh? And there were a lot of octagon symbols around. And, well, they say in this video that they protect the state. That's what they all say. They don't protect us, they protect the state. That's all they care about themselves, you know? How to keep us prisoner. They don't protect us. Neither does the CIA. They're not there to protect us, they're there to protect the state. All of these things here, they never had any problems with each other, never. Here you can see Leni Riefenstahl, who became over 100 years old and only spent 3 years in prison for poisoning the heads of the Germans and their children with her Hitler propaganda films like Triumph of the Will. She became Hitler's propagandist through a film she made in, well, guess where, folks? Yeah, well, in Swaziland, of course. And the name of that film is The Blue Light, about some blue magical light in a Swiss cave, which is of course related to Hathor, the pharaonic goddess and daughter of Ra. Now here it says in Wikipedia about Hathor, here says Hathor. She was one of several goddesses who acted as the eye of Ra, you know, the Wadjet. That's why both Hathor and the other one, the Wadjet, they have the same turquoise color. And here it says, in Egypt, she was one of the deities commonly invoked in private prayers and votive offerings, particularly by women desiring children. Hey, so they're gonna make you infertile. That's what they want to do with this corona crown Sar Hathor Wadjet virus. Hey, and you're going to pray to this one here, you know, and to get children. You're not going to be able to get any more children. That's what I want to do, to have total control, like Monsanto, you know, like a genetic manipulation. That's what I want to do. We are the slaves. They only protect the state, you know, for God's sake. They even say it. And today there are these people and pink list killers amongst us who adore the goddesses and all that, who perfectly know this. I mean, why else would there be today a Hathor blue dress like this here, and here Hathor, and here Hathor? They know it, but we don't know it. They kept all their secrets for 4,000 years or 6,000 years, conspiring against humanity, conspiring against the man, the sons, our brothers, you know, their fathers. They conspire against us. You see, it exists. And now they're coming up with the coronavirus. So you're going to pray to the goddess afterwards. That's all you can do. You know, here it reads in the pyramid text, Hathor. This means Hathor. And the other one here, Heru, it means Horus. Eh? Heru, here it says Horus. It's all devil worship, you know, the whole corona thing. It's about controlling the womb. And this was also what Trump is doing, you know, when he's holding the, when he's doing his two hands together, he's forming the womb, you know, of Isis, and which is related to Hathor. So it says here in the pyramid text, Hathor appears as Hathor in the sky. Yeah, remember the blue light, you know, it's all related. And even declares, I'm Hathor, mistress of the northern sky. These are ancient texts of Pharaoh. Eh? From prehistoric times, the iconography of Hathor reveals her stellar origins and establishes for her role as mistress of the stars. We cannot ignore the very essence of her name Hathor, which translates literally as house of Heru, the house of Horus. You know, the Per, the house. They all talk about house, you know, like the aristocracy. And Heru is the most ancient sky god, and Hathor is his residence. Okay. His mansion, the sanctuary or womb in which he dwells. You know, he dwells in the womb, you know. His sperm, probably. Or that womb or dwelling can only, the dwelling, you know, the cave with the blue light, remember? They're hiding things. It's all by mystical, you know, conspiracies against us, you know. The Leni Riefenstahl, the blue lights in a cave, all that, that is the womb. And the blue light, it's this, Hathor and all this, you know. It's the... that womb or dwelling can only be the sky, where Heru is its divine master, but who in fact gave him, who's him, such mastery, such a hallowed domain. Hathor, of course, who gave him birth and united with him as both creatrix and lover. Bloody hell, like fuck your mother and your son will be your brother sort of stuff, eh? It's all satanic, people. The corona thing, don't believe the newspapers. They want to control the womb. That's what it's all about. It's in the colors, it's in the symbols, and it's everywhere, in the names, it's all over. Don't believe them. They lie. Newspapers, the medias, they are liars. Think about 9/11. That's all you need to do. Think about 9/11, about how they lied. So this is a lie too. It says the mistress of turquoise, that's Hathor. And here it says Vajas, the goddess Vajet. You know, here the eye and all that, sun panel. Mefkat, here it says. So, you know, and this is the color, like a little bit like this. This is turquoise. This is the color on the Resident Evil thing, you know, connected with the corona. It always relates back to pharaonic stuff, you know. They've been hiding amongst us for thousands of years, eh? Well, it's time to get rid of them. So these are the kind of prayers you can do then to the goddess when you have taken the antidote, the mandatory vaccination. They're gonna force it upon us, when the whole system doesn't work anymore, the no more reproduction, Rise, O Hathor, mistress of turquoise, mistress of real lapis lazuli, upon whose limbs glitters indestructible gold, that skin of the gods which brings joy to the hearts of humankind, through whose magic the Neteru possess the entire circuit of the sun. It's their aim to make us infertile, as I found at this horrible site for their rituals here in this film. And through fear control and the following mandatory vaccinations, Pharaoh will finalize their goal of perfectionating the slave race called humanity. Here's the title, just punch it in. So, always be aware of the colors, because every color has a meaning for Pharaoh. Here it says, green was the color of the eye of Horus, or Vejad. It's all about, numbers, colors, symbols, and hiding, lying, cheating, rape, wars, well, you name it. And when Trumpstein here wears a yellow tie while going to India, this has a meaning. He's not going to tell you, because you're not playing in the same league, or maybe even crypto league, in addition to crypto leagues. Trumpstein never ever has worn a yellow tie before, and for Pharaoh, yellow represents the color of the sun, and therefore the color of perfection, which comes after the blue war tie, which Trumpstein shows all the time in relation to the white European race, of whom he's not a part of. Meaning that after the coming blue war, there will be perfection, which already exists in India, apparently, through the unequal caste system of the Brahmans, to which Mr. Trumpstein apparently is in total favor for. Well, he's one of them then, You see, it's all the Aryans. I told you, it's a completely demotic pharaonic word, coming out of the pharaonic A-ri-on. A, it means big or pregnant in this case. Ri is the sun, and On is Osiris, who comes out of the sun. So it means pregnant sun Osiris. It means pregnant sun, they come out of the sun. That's why here is yellow, the color of the sun, for perfection. And it shows also a pyramid. The Kshatriya is the warrior caste, who protects the upper caste. So you might say this is octagon, this is hexagon, and this is the square here, the untouchables. It's the square, yeah. I made a film about it when I once opened up a cake. It's all pharaonic, people. It's all pharaonic. While he makes you think he's one of you in Make America Great Britain Again. From America. See my film The Pharaoh Show, meaning the resurrection of the great pharaonic empire, symbolized through the color yellow for the perfection. A couple of years back, the Swiss and their highly criminal pharmaceutical giant Novartis have tested several coronaviruses and the H5N1 avian influenza, avian flu or bird flu, on Polish homeless, leaving at least 21 dead and probably hundreds who died later on due to the side effects of the corona and bird flu testing on poor homeless people without protection. Anyway, for the Swiss, poor people are considered subhumans. In Swiss German, ein Untermensch, jawohl! I have to tell you, the Germans do not have the superiority ideas like Untermensch, subhumans. I was a homeless for 3 years in Germany too. There are very many homeless in Germany who are being treated alike by the German people. In Switzerland, there are no homeless. And if they see one, the Swiss immediately call up die Polizei, Swiss Nazi police, who come and pick you up and deliver you in a mental institution. Because in Switzerland, anyone without money is considered to be sick. So be aware of countries without homeless people and where it's too clean and too organized compared to the rest of the globe. And I was a homeless in Switzerland for many years too, only possible by wrapping it up when daylight in the early morning and sleep in forest or hide in the bushes, which I did. Nobody saw me. Then, in the morning, I had a shave with my clean Swiss electric razor, and voila, I looked like a clean tourist backpacker going to Interlaken and Geneva. 13 cool things, huh? Well, I did them all 13 of them, eh? Therefore, the worldwide father of eugenics and the Swiss system of the Untermensch, subhuman, was a Swiss called Dr. Ernst Rudin from St. Gallen with the Thatchers in their crest. The Swiss Dr. Ernst Rudin was a personal friend of Hitler and his gang, and he visited Auschwitz and other concentration camps. Here you can see it. He was born in St. Gallen, and he was a geneticist, eugenicist, and a Nazi. And mass sterilization, the whole lot of it. Eh? He died peacefully in Munich, never did a day in prison. So I say it again because it's very important. Well, here is St. Gallen, where the eugenicist was from. And this symbol is the Thatchers. You find them in the British Parliament, French, American Parliament, in Washington. They are the ones who are ruling us. And it means unus pro omnibus, omnes pro unis, which is on the Swiss ceiling of the Parliament. And it's a Knights Templar saying. It means one for all and all for one. Because there are a couple of branches, you know, already the Romans had this, eh? It's all Pharaonic, Roman, that's where it finally comes from, eh? So there are a couple of branches tied together with a sword. This is their weapon. It means this is our weapon. Here's the Templar stuff. And it means one branch, you can break it, but all the branches all together, you can't break it. One for all and all for one. This is their system. And we're their stupid slaves, we're selfish. It's all, nobody trusts nobody. It's all one, everybody for himself. And that's why we lose. That's why Mr. Jesus, when he came, he said, love your neighbor, you know, because we have to team up, folks. This is what he meant, because he is from the Pharaonic line of David. He knew what they were going to do, and he didn't like it. Like some of them, like Lady Diana, for instance, and the Empress Sissy, they didn't like what they were going to do, so they whacked them, you know, because these princesses and empresses were choosing our sides because they didn't want all this killing and bloodshed. So this terrible Swiss criminal, this is where he comes from, his roots. And as I told, it's all Templar stuff, eh? It's all from the Knights Templars, and the Freemasons, they come out of the Templars, and they founded Switzerland. Also, therefore, after the war, Dr. Joseph Mengele, who lived in Kloten, Zurich, Switzerland, in the Schwimmbadstraße number 9, helped sterilizing 30,000 gypsy women, subhumans, people without enough money after the war, in the 50s and in the 60s. So for Swissy and their Novates, a homeless is not considered a human being. Well, so why not use them as guinea pigs, eh? Who are even cheaper than the real animal guinea pigs. So, Swissy went to Poland, bribed the Polish authorities, gave each Polish homeless 10 zloty, about $4, to buy some beers and cigarettes, making any homeless happy, right? And the Swiss liars told the homeless that it was just a normal flu vaccination. Because the nice Swiss, with their Templar Red Cross spy organization, care for people, don't they know? It all happened in the Polish town of Grudziądz, northwest of Warsaw, and the director's name of the homeless center is Mieczysław Waklawowski, who didn't understand how come suddenly so many of his homeless started dying, and all complaining about pains in the stomach, liver, and kidneys before they passed away and died. At first, he related it to the high intake of alcoholics amongst his homeless clients. Poland in general being a country of serious vodka drinkers, but then they all started to complain about such severe itchy feelings that the man felt like scratching the skin off their bodies, which they literally did. And they felt so hot as being inside of a glowing hot oven. And that with Auschwitz, Oswiecim, next door with ethnic Swiss angel of death. Not a really comforting thought. Until Mieczysław Waklawowski realized it must have to do with the flu shots by those nice philanthropist humanitarian Swiss from Novartis. Normally, the Swiss experiment new drugs on psychiatrical patients and prisoners in Switzerland, where the homeless go to anyway, in Octagon of the Alps, as it's a crime to be homeless in Switzerland. So from 1946 until 1980, thousands of people were used as human guinea pigs in Swaziland for the Novartis criminals, who by then operated under the name Sibagagi. Their speciality was experimenting on children and pregnant women, of whom hundreds died due to the side effects of the various tested Novartis drugs, and many were wrecked for life, both mentally and physically. Now, why the experimenting of Novartis and Dr. Roland Kuhn started only in 1946? Well, that's very easy, because Swissy and their Basel-based Novartis didn't have their Auschwitz facility anymore. But they still had the Auschwitz camp doctor Josef Mengele, living just around the corner from Münsterling Psychiatrical Hospital, with Mengele living in Zurich, Kloten, only 60 kilometers away. So here's a map of most of Swaziland, hey? So here's Münsterling, where they did all the experiments. Here is Novartis, Baalbek, Basel. Here's Bern. Here's even, and here, a little bit north of Zurich, about here. Only 60 kilometers away from the where they did the testing on children and pregnant women until 1981. Hey? Here's the airport of Zurich, called Kloten. And here was Dr. Mengele. He was living here all the time, in the 60s, the 70s, the 50s. They all knew it. Eh? He was an ethnic Swiss, as I explained in my film, The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil. Even Engelberg is in it, the angel of death, Dr. Mengele. He went skiing here in the mountain, the Berg of the Angels. Eh? They're just laughing in our faces, people. Hey? And gypsies, you know, well, I'll tell you in a minute what they did with the gypsies while Dr. Mengele was in Swaziland. This is where it all comes from. And they brought the corona, no doubt. The Swiss Nazi psychiatrist doing the medical experiments for Novartis was the world famous Dr. Roland Kuhn, also called the father of antidepressants, although only hearing the story makes you depressive. He and his wife Verena Kuhn, also a doctor, were a real Nazi doctor couple destroying and killing defenseless children without any remorse at all, just like their pal Mengele, so typically Swiss. And then ending up as a worldwide renowned medical hero, like that NASA guy Werner von Braun and his rockets. We, their slaves and our children, are just maggots for these creatures. Roland Kuhn became very rich by making billions for Novartis, their new medicines being sold worldwide by clean and neutral Switzerland. And he lived from 1912 to 2005. Here you can see it. It's a Basel-based pharmaceutical company. Okay? And before the name was Ciba-Geigy, as real criminals change their names and all the time. Now they just change their names into Novartis. And this guy, Roland Kuhn, he studied in Basel, which I've shown you in the picture, like 2 pictures back. So it's all Freemasonry. He already made his deals when he was studying in Basel, where Novartis is, and where the BIS is, and Permendex, and everything. You would ask yourself, well, isn't there any police in Switzerland defending human rights and children's rights? No, there isn't. The Swiss Nazi police only defends big money and the various Nazi ideologies coming out of the Templar Alps, with Switzerland and their child care authorities being the center of global child trafficking. And during the year 1971 only, Novartis used 172 kids as guinea pigs for extremely dangerous and in many cases lethal new Novartis drugs, just as they did in Poland. So here, one of the many Novartis names, Ciba-Geigy, like a Swiss criminal, changing names all the time and using lots of aliases for the same company at the very same place in Baalbek, Basel, Swaziland. Here you can see the name, Ciba-Geigy, which is the old name for Novartis. And here they just say Ciba. It's so well known. And it says, der Ciba berichtete später, haben den Versuch nicht weiterführen können, da die Patienten starb. So Novartis said they couldn't prolong the experiments because the patient died. And here it says 172 kids. So the old name, eh? So they're just changing names like a criminal has a lot of aliases and other names. And nobody will ever do anything against these sort of things in Switzerland, because it's the perfect dictatorship for the Freemasons and the Knights Templars. It's the base of Pharaoh, it's the base of all evil, and they're behind the corona, people. So for just antidepressants, they can do the testing and experimenting in Swaziland. But for the dangerous viruses and the new medicines, they do it elsewhere and go to Poland or even to Wuhan, China. Here you can see the Swiss Novartis, this is their laboratory in China for biomedical research in Shanghai. There you go. It's Swiss-based Novartis. And then they bribe the authorities, you know, to do the testing on some homeless and poor people. They also bribed the Chinese, as they did with the Poles and the Japs. I'll show it to you, people. This is a highly criminal organization behind it, the Knights Templars of Octagon. And this is a very corrupt company. And I show you their slogan. Here's their slogan. And they compare, like, deliver it. Here it says deliver it. What do they deliver? Hey, the corona, hey? Like delivering the viruses, they compare it with being an Olympic swimmer. Well, the Olympic Games committee is also in Switzerland, in Lausanne. There you go. Being a competitive swimmer, you're taught the discipline of working hard, then training for the big event. Well, we have a big event now, eh? Achieving a result, and then celebrating once you win. Right? Just after the Second World War, having all the money in their banks, and they go celebrate it. That's very close to what we do at Novartis. We work very hard towards a goal. We set the objective, then we deliver it. And then we try to celebrate, but only for a short time, until we set the next goal. You see, they're never going to stop, people. They go on and go on. After the Second World War, we thought we had it, eh? With the Swiss financing and everything. And they just go on. They will never stop. They will never stop. Look, the Swiss Novartis, criminal Nazi pharmaceutical company, is doing exactly the same thing as the criminal Swiss Nazi banks did and still do today. They throw big parties for the elite with music, drugs, prostitutes, caviar, and probably also the youth elixir, in order to get their clients on a sneaky friendship basis for tax evasion, briberies, new medicine permits, you name it. And I knew the managing director over the US and Canada for Fry chocolate, that even for Swiss chocolate, it works like this. The guy's name is Carlo Rusix. I slept at his place and he came for dinner to our house. He was always very friendly and helpful to me, but completely messed up with all that comes with it at the highest business levels. And he told me about the Swiss drugs and prostitute parties by Swiss Fry Swiss chocolate for their business partners, and showed me the proofs too. So I already shown you before this here how the Swiss criminal Novartis, how they bribed in Poland in order to do medical experiments on human guinea pigs and get their medicines permit and everything. They're highly criminal, and I show you more. They do this all over the world. It's not only Poland, even in the US. They even bribed the president. Yeah, look here, they did it in Japan. I guess the Japanese businessman, they also like the youth elixir and prostitutes and drugs and everything that goes with it, eh? The Yakuza. It's all mixed up, people, and you are just a slave and a maggot to them. Here in Japan, bribery, Swiss bribery in Japan. And the list goes on and on and on. So look at that here. Novartis, Swiss bribery in Turkey. You know, it's all about business. It's all, you are just a slave and a commodity to them. You're just a commodity, nothing else. It's all about numbers and money. And then it's everywhere. They do it everywhere. Of course, Novartis is behind the corona outbreak. They are behind it. And look at their logo. You know, this is artificial insemination. This same thing I filmed there in the Netherlands on that thing from the Prince, the Prince Maurice, like the pharaonic Saint Maurice guy. It's like the egg, and here they do the artificial insemination, and this is where it all. This is the cells, the stem cells. Look at it. You know, the youth elixir. It's the embryonic cells. 3 months old baby. They are vampires. How long? How much more you're gonna take this from them, eh? And here, look, Swiss Novartis bribery in Korea, 50 million. They do it everywhere. Here's the Korean flag with the yin yang stuff. They do it everywhere. It's they must have a special Swiss bribery department in the Novartis. I mean, how can they do it, eh? I told you, the Swiss have absolutely, they have no conscience. Not at all. Absolutely cold and ruthless. And here again in Greece, Swiss Novartis, it's another scandal, corruption. Well, that's Switzerland, people. It's all over. I mean, it's so many. I could be filling a 3-hour video only showing the Novartis and the Swiss, all these articles all over the world, you know, the Swiss corruption and bribery and health elixir. They're vampires. They're the center of the center of global child trafficking. Hey, Swissy, I'll get you. Yeah, look. Here, Novartis bribery in China. They are behind the corona COVID-19 outbreak all over the world, people. And I already told you so in 2013, making videos about this. They are behind it. This is Templar stuff. This is Octagon. And here, bribery. This is 2019, just before the corona outbreak. Bribery in the US of Novartis, Swiss Novartis. They got the president in their pocket, people, and you are locked in for months and months because of these ones here and your corrupt president, eh? Yeah, look, here in the US, talking with Donald Trump, eh? Novartis, they almost paid $1 billion about the bribery allegations. They only talk about the money and the money they pay, but what did they do? They don't talk about it. What did they do, you know? They let loose the corona on us, eh? That's why you're sitting inside. They do it all over the world. I'm not going to show it to you, all these. I'm sitting here the whole day if I would. Yeah, this is the Wall Street Journal. It's just, it isn't just nothing, eh? These are all renowned newspapers, you know? So how much longer you gonna believe this guy here, eh? Novartis, it was first reported that Novartis, a Swiss pharmaceutical company, paid Trump's lawyer Michael Cohen $400,000 so they could gain access. I'll show you the rest in a minute. This Trump is a businessman, people, a very good one. He knows how to sell things. He knows how to sell himself. They use lies. These are businessmen, you know. Only money counts. He knows exactly what you want to hear. He knows what the buyer wants to hear for a product, eh? The proofs are all here. And I've shown you he's an ethnic Swiss from his father's side, from the German Palatines. And from his mother's side, he's a pharaoh. Pharaoh from the one side, Templars from the other side. He knows how to sell himself, eh? Stop believing. It's all a business and you're a commodity. It's only money, that's all that counts. I only see money in you. You're the buyer of their lies, eh? And they're selling it. They've been doing this for a long time, people, and nobody ever stopped them. It all started in 1291. And it's getting worse and worse by the day. So this is all from official newspapers. The Swiss drug major Novartis is now caught in the middle of the bribery storm in China. Yes, Wuhan, China, Corona, COVID-19, right? After a sales representative of the company making shocking revelations about operations in China. Novartis are in China. They got a biolab in China. Hey, you still don't believe me? Yeah, look, Novartis bribery in China, and they have a lab, several labs. They're doing experiments on homeless and poor people all over the world. Hey, the Swiss Nazi Templars, they're still conspiring against humanity, and nobody does a thing about it. Oh yes, the president is gonna save us all. Mr. Trump, he's our hero. Oh yeah. Nobody's doing a thing, eh? And for Trump, you are just a commodity. You're just a couple of dollars worth, that's all. Yeah, look, this is the front of the Swiss Novartis criminal Nazi Institute for Biomedical Research in China. This is the China building in Shanghai. This is where it comes from. They did it, people. I already warned you about the Swiss Novartis in these two older videos of mine in my channel here, Gatzefratz, 6 years ago. So this video here, it says Novartis, and this one here. They are into bioterrorism, people. And I had a much longer video 7 years ago on my channel, Giureh, but that's gone. And I don't have it anymore because we had 2 extensive house searches where the police, the Swiss Nazi police, they stole all my hard disks, computers, cameras, DVDs, everything. It's gone, people. You should have copied it. So you better copy all these videos I still have here now. Maybe somebody in the future will rise up and see this and rise up against them. We'll probably won't live that anymore to see that. And I still have this video on my channel Gatzefratz from 2013. Here you can see that when the Swiss, they voted for a mandatory vaccination. So then I already understood that they Novartis already bribed the government and everything. And so I already warned you from this highly criminal Nazi Templar Novartis 7 years ago. But nobody will do anything against it. Neither will you big hero Mr. Trump save you, eh? He's into it over his neck. And the youth elixir and everything. Eh?